Friday night, yeah.
Three, two, one, go! Three, two, one, go! Three, two, three, two, one, go!